We don't need the gap there or anything because I'm not gonna fill it with anything. Oh fuck. Oh. My husband's like, don't say the F word, and it's like that's all I can think of saying when I'm off air. Get it out of my system.
Yep, right now.
Okay. Allie,
Hello.
dare I say Mrs. Burns?
Oh my goodness. It still isn't normal.
All I can think of is The Simpsons.
Oh, everyone
Mr.
does
Burns.
that. I know.
Oh, shucks. Because I don't ever call you Burns.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always like, Allie, or is it Allison? Like, should I say Allison? Because your email both pop up, Allison or Allie.
Yeah.
Anyways, you've been married for, what, 7 months?
Yeah.
A whole
Since
7
May.
months. Yep. Has the dust settled yet?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, wedding planning, what we'll get into is a little stressful.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot stressful. And I was actually very relieved to have it be done. It was a wonderful day, but
Yeah.
I feel like I was very ready to be a normal person.
Yeah.
And be married and
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been a little crazy. We went on our honeymoon in September. We bought a house. So we're moving into that very soon.
It's so exciting.
So it feels like it's been a lot, but the wedding stuff, the dust is kind of settled, but now it's all this other new stuff that
life keeps going.
That comes with life. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no pause.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so let's start at the beginning. How do you feel like you managed working, because as human beings we work, planning a wedding, and then now moving into a new house, which I feel like is the typical pattern for modern brides today, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting till we're a little bit older to get married. We have established jobs, so that's kind of a time chunk that we don't have to spend on wedding planning. And then once we get married, then we buy a house. Or while we're getting married, we're buying a house or something like that.
It's like how I've handled it, sort
how
of.
do you manage it?
I think with wedding planning, it's been I had to be I own my own business, and so I felt like on one hand I had all this flexibility, like I can be flexible and plan when I need to.
Yeah.
But that got me in trouble very quickly. And so at first I kind of let myself enjoy it and let myself get distracted while I was supposed to be working and stuff like that. But then after a while I was like, you know what, I really need to carve out time for this in the evening. And I'm lucky enough that my now husband Josh is he was actually kind of into it. Like there's some stuff he didn't care about, but it was nice to be able to carve out that time together with him too, to kind of process through things.
Yeah.
And think
Do you
through
like these flowers? What do you want your boutonniere to look like?
Right.
Is this tie color
and
okay?
And some stuff he's like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And
like the serious look into your eyes, like, honey, please decide for me.
I remember having a conversation with him. He goes, okay, here's the deal. I care about a lot of things with this. Like, I want to be a part of it. Flowers are not one of those things. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Give me a flower. Don't give me a flower. I love you just the same.
Right. And like he kind of, he was a little bit more involved in maybe the boutonniere and, because, I don't know, he's just like that. It's his thing, but he's just like, there's some things I'm not going to care about. So we kind of had to decipher, like, what are those things that I just need to do and take care of? But then, like, all the rental stuff, because we had an outdoor wedding on my grandparents' property. So there's a lot of rental stuff and a lot of details that stressed me out more than him. So it was kind of nice because he took that stuff over and was very comfortable and actually liked figuring out the logistics of it. So it was nice because we were able to kind of tag team it. And I think the things that I liked most, maybe naturally he didn't, and vice versa. So it was really nice to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that we handled it really well in that way, where we're both really creative in different ways, and we've got a lot of help from family. I guess the planning wise, we really kind of kept it close because we didn't want too many opinions, but we were very lucky to have a lot of help, with big stuff, and making that all happen on my grandparents' property was a feat, you know?
And it meant a lot to you, but definitely backyard weddings are not easy.
They are not.
They're not easier because you don't have chairs, you don't have tables. And if you do have chairs, do you have chairs for 180?
We had 200 people.
For 200 people.
No.
Do you?
No.
Like,
and you think you're going to save money? You don't.
I don't think so. I don't know.
You have this huge tent, and you have all the tables and chairs.
And good for you for getting a tent.
Oh.
And you needed it.
Yes.
People are always like, well, what if we don't need the tent? What if you do?
What if you do?
Like, hold on.
Yep.
What if you need a tent because it's raining? Okay, let's say like rain, whatever. What if it's just really windy or really hot?
Yes.
Like if it's really hot, ain't nobody gonna stand outside baking and getting sunburnt just to see you get married.
Right.
Like,
and in our case, it was 40 degrees in
no,
May.
It wasn't?
It got down to 40 degrees.
Oh,
so
no.
it was nice actually in the tent because people, we were supposed to do the ceremony outside and then we're going to go into the tent, do dinner, do the dance and everything. That was always the plan. But we had to bring everything inside.
Yeah.
And it was actually very cozy and people literally were in their winter jackets.
Yeah.
So like my grandpa, to my dad's dismay, walked down the aisle in his like winter jacket. And I'm not kidding. And he's like, I can't believe he did that. But at the same time, like, it was okay because it wasn't supposed to be this fancy wedding. It was supposed to be nice. We wanted it to be super fun. We wanted it to be emotional and meaningful. And, like, that's good. But it didn't need to be perfect in those ways.
Like, what good is a wedding if no one wants to be there?
Right.
Honestly, like, if you are completely selfish and you're like, I don't care, we're having it this way, my guests can go screw it, then everyone's going to be like, great, you got married, and now we're getting in our cars and we're leaving.
Right.
And I've seen guests leave before they even ate dinner because they were too cold. Yeah. And this isn't a June wedding.
No. I mean, it was end of May. So we were like, oh, it'll be fun. But no, Minnesota.
You don't know.
Thank you. Like 40 degrees. Yeah, you don't know.
Also global warming. You don't know anywhere. Texas got snow. I bet all those brides were like, yay, we're going to have such a great wedding weekend. It'll be so moderate. And then it snowed.
Snow.
And then no one came because they didn't know how to drive in snow.
Right.
Which is my experience.
Oh, my gosh. I can't imagine.
People are like, oh, snow day.
Yes.
Like, we all stay home if it snows. In Minnesota, it's like, no, we all just
do it. Yeah, right.
Yay. Okay, so backyard wedding.
Yes.
So there's certain things that you knew you needed to have because it was a backyard wedding and because that wasn't necessarily included with your venue. So where did you start?
Well, we didn't. It was something before Josh and I got engaged. We always. Not that we talked about this all the time, but we had thought about it, and I thought I would love to get married at my grandparents because they were like, I didn't go to daycare. I went to grandma and grandpa's. That was like my second home. So it would be really special to me, and I had a hunch that my grandparents would actually love it. On one hand, I was like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna kill me that I even asked this. But on the other hand, and what turned out to be is that they were like, I was thinking that too, and I wanted to offer, but I didn't want you to feel.
And how sweet, obligated,
right, obligated. And so my grandpa was all for it, and they live on a farm. They have horses. So I knew it was going to be beautiful, but I think the first step was, okay, where is the tent going to go? Right. And there's tons, acres, tons of land. So it's not just like a backyard wedding per se, but, it's not necessarily really flat ground. Right. So I think the first thing is we wanted to make sure it was doable and that we could actually do it. And we knew we wanted to have, not a small wedding. Like we want to have a lot of people. Is this even doable? So I think that was the first step, is figuring out, is this actually doable, finding a good place. And my grandpa was all for it. He's like, let's go out there and find like the flattest surface, and thinking about if it rains, like where's the water going to go? Like how is it going to,
I love that.
Not drain, but pool.
Right. Which
Opposite
people
of
don't
drain.
think about. Like that's
I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yes, I've been at a backyard wedding, and it was more like they had a lot of acreage. So it wasn't like right off the house, but they didn't think about what happens when it rains to the grass and people stomping on the grass and then bringing that in under the tent. So they laid down a ton of tarps to kind of protect.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Footpath between the tent and the porta potties and the food truck.
Oh, nice. That's a really good
and
idea.
And then there's
parking
too. Parking.
Yeah. Well, we can get into actually like what happened the day of
all that.
But to answer your question about like what we did first, it was definitely the tent and figuring out if it was even doable, and then really pricing stuff out. And we did go look at one other venue because I kind of thought, well, if we don't do the whole thing at my grandparents, then maybe we can do the reception somewhere else that's more conducive to that and already has what we need. So we went to like a local kind of ballroom, like an old ballroom in Withrow, here in Minnesota. Anyway, and we looked, and I was there, and we were talking to her, and I started like glazing over. I'm like,
oh, I'm not interested in
this. We can't do this here. Right. Like, we need to do it at my grandparents. I was just had this feeling like it's not going to be the same unless we do it there. So anyway, we went there first, then we went to ask my grandparents. We're like, okay, what do you think about this? And they were all for it.
So tent first.
Tent first.
Is that the first vendor you booked, you feel like? Or photographer?
Which I think it was either that or the photographer.
Right.
I was very picky. I'm a graphic designer. I work with imagery a lot. I wanted to be really picky about it, but we didn't have an unlimited budget by any means. We were paying for at least half of it, ourselves. We're like, okay, what can we do here?
Maybe not 10 grand.
Maybe not 10 grand. So we paid like 25. I think it was 2,000 for them, and we are over the moon with the pictures, especially considering the rain. they did such an amazing job.
And good lighting.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, overcast days are like the best lighting for weddings. There's no shadows.
Right.
Or there's no like sun glaring in your eyes, so everyone's
That was never a problem. It was more of like being freezing outside. Like I hardly wanted to be outside because I was so cold. But I was trying to,
and like kind of nervous. So you get like the nervous shakes. The nervous sweats.
The nervous sweats. Totally.
All the time.
Totally.
Yes. But that's good.
Yeah. So I think the photographer and then the tent was the next thing. And I think we did tables and chairs maybe after that.
Right. And a tent to fit all of the people underneath the tent.
Yep. And all the tables. Yeah. And then we wanted, I grew up dancing. Lots of dancers were going to be here. I'm like, we need a huge dance floor. It's not.
So you did get one.
We did.
Good for you.
We did. Yeah.
I think sometimes people are like, oh, well, we can just dance on the grass. But actually, that's fine if you want to do that. But your guests probably don't want to do that. They'll feel too timid because there's not like a designated get your boogie on section.
Yep. And it was nice, considering the rain. It was nice because we were able to sweep it off, and it's not like wet ground, And we ended up spreading hay everywhere, like the horses.
Yeah.
Hay. My grandpa's like, we'll just use the hay if it happens.
Your grandpa's super smart.
He's super
he
smart.
He should be at all weddings.
I know. He like had it all figured out. And my uncles and like I had a lot of people that were like hands on. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Have you ever? Okay, totally. Side note. Have you ever watched the show Parenthood?
No.
Okay. My aunt who married my dad's my mom's brother. So she's like the in-law. Okay. She's like, your family is like Parenthood. Like everyone's chipping in, and it's like, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm stressed out right now. But everyone is like, it totally is a hands-on
Everyone
thing.
grabbed a chair. Totally. Everyone was like, I'll go get napkins.
Yep. Putting a poncho on and running out, moving all like.
Love
and
that.
Josh's family is the exact same way. Like they are just all in and happy to do whatever is
we're all in this together.
So that's like the best situation I think we could have had. Given the rain.
Well, especially with your venue.
Right.
Like you need that support system.
Yeah.
Okay, so along that support system,
yes,
you did have a day of coordinator.
You
planned your wedding
to
complete. Did day of coordinator help you with the timeline?
She did a little bit. She kind of came in later in the game because I was like, wait, I don't need one of those.
That's typical.
Yes. And then all of a sudden I was like,
I feel overwhelmed.
Maybe I really need this. And it was actually, long story, but it was actually a trade I did with the owner. So I mean, it was with my business. So it was more like fell in my lap, the opportunity. And I was like, oh,
I have to take this.
This feels like I need to do this. There's a reason why this is coming up. And so I did go for it, and she did help me. We met, I think, 2 times before the wedding, and we would check in via email and stuff too. But she kind of looked at my timeline, what I thought, and it was really nice to get another eye on it, and for her to say, okay, this is going to take longer. Who are you kidding?
We need more time for pictures,
right? Because I don't know, you know what I mean. And then I did all the she did all the calling the day, I think the week of, like she did all the confirmation calls. That was a huge weight off my shoulders. But then leading up to, maybe I'm just really type A, I don't know, but like I kind of had everything figured out, I did my research. Josh has done his research for what he needed, but it was nice to know that she is there the day of, and I don't know what we would have done without her, like having her there. And I remember the morning of, everyone's like, we have to do it, inside. Like we have to move all the chairs in the tent. I'm like,
and you're trying not to cry inside.
Yeah, I was like, I had like my 5 minutes where I was all teary and upset, but then I'm like, you know what? It's going to be fine. It'll all be fine. And I thought, once she gets here, once the day of coordinator gets here, it's going to be fine. Like she's going to take care of it. And just knowing that, I didn't feel as guilty about my family having to like do everything. She was in charge and able to handle it. And I could just tell them, go to her. She will make the decision. And I could, enjoy the day.
I love that.
So it was really good in multiple ways. I mean, the planning and getting another eye on the timeline was definitely helpful.
Right.
And then day of, like, absolutely
necessary, right? Don't get married without a day of coordinator.
Yeah, especially if you're doing
anything
a wedding.
DIY.
That's very DIY. Everything was DIY for us. So, I mean, for the most part.
So venue, what other things did you DIY?
Well, I mean, we got a vendor for our food. And so we didn't DIY that.
Was it like a wedding caterer or a restaurant that caters?
It was a wedding event caterer.
Because it's
I would
a little
say.
different. Sometimes restaurants are like, sure, we could cater, but then they don't quite understand. Like, no, you were supposed to bring the silverware.
No, they had it all figured out, which is good. And that was not, okay, food, maybe people are going to think I'm crazy. Food was not super important to us.
Right.
We're getting married on a farm. It's outside. We wanted like home cooked meal sort of thing. We weren't going to spend a fortune. We would rather have more people there. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No,
than
I
like
love
spend
that.
all this money on food. So we got, I think it was like $11 a plate.
That's insane.
And it was like a butcher shop in Rochester, which is where Josh is from.
Yeah.
That had like a catering side to it. So you could do like the pig and do all this stuff. We didn't really want to do that. I don't want a pig in my wedding, like a big pig on the whatever. But they did, the chicken, and they had these options that was still meat based and potatoes and that kind of thing, which we really loved and it worked really well because it was buffet style, but they had people there serving. So the line, I'm sure it went a little long, because there's all those people.
That's just how it goes. People.
But they were conscious of saying, okay, like, we're going to serve everybody and keep things going. Do you need silverware? Do you want a punch bowl? Yes. Always yes. Things, or like, do you want to have coffee? Like, they were asking me questions I didn't even
think about
necessarily
like, where do you want
in the
water
moment.
Station to be?
Totally.
Water?
Yeah. So they were really on top of it, but I mean, it was low key. It wasn't like this fancy thing, but it was nice.
Salads.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. So we didn't, thank God, didn't DIY that. But like my good friend did the kind of DJing. So I made the playlist. We plugged it into the speakers. And he just kind of was the MC for the night. And I knew he was going to do an awesome job at that. So that was great. My uncle and aunt made the wedding cake.
Like a quick step back, did your friend bring speakers?
They were borrowed.
The soundboard?
No,
okay.
They were he's actually in California, and so he was flying in. So I didn't want him to do anything more than just like be there and have it
just
ready.
Show up.
So I believe it was my brother-in-law, so Josh's brother-in-law. He just like was able to borrow them from his church or something.
Oh, nice.
So we didn't pay anything for the sound system.
Churches are really generous.
Yes.
And I'm not like. Okay, probably if you don't go to church, maybe don't take advantage of like your local church. But if you're a part of a church, you can ask them like, hey, I'm getting married, and what support do you have? Like, besides just premarital counseling or doing your ceremony there.
Right.
Like, they might have other things like decor.
Right. You never know. And
chairs.
Right. And in this situation, John, my brother-in-law, was very involved with the church. Him and his wife were
super nice.
Yeah. So it was really nice because he just was like, I can totally figure that out. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Is it the church or his school? He's a band director, so he might have like piecemealed it together or something. And again, that was something that stresses me out. So Josh was able to be like, yep, I know exactly what we need, and we'll figure it out. Or he was able to at least like talk the language. I was like, I have no idea.
I've had that before though at a wedding, that they got married at their parents' house right down the street from the church that they went to, and the church did lend out chairs.
It was really nice.
Or pews, whichever one.
Oh my gosh, awesome!
It was very nice.
Yeah, so we really used our resources, and people, were very gracious to even just offer in the first place. We didn't have to like feel awkward constantly.
Okay, your grandparents that have the farm did the cake.
No, my uncle and aunt did.
Okay.
So it's the same cake, same side of the family.
And was it enough cake for everyone, or a small 2-tier?
It was a 3-tier, but it was pretty small. So it wasn't. He wasn't. Well, I shouldn't say small. It was probably regular size. I guess I don't know what a normal.
Did you
wedding
feed
cake
everyone from your tiered cake?
We did.
Oh, then that's a large cake.
Yeah.
100 or 200 slices.
Yeah.
Plus.
Yeah.
You had leftover cake.
Yes. So yeah, I guess it was pretty big, huh?
That's huge.
Again, that's like a blur thing. Like I'm like, I don't know. Did we feed everybody?
Did we cut
that sounds
our cake?
really bad. I mean, I know we cut it, but I'm like, I don't even know if I had a piece that night, because I don't know. Maybe I did. See, I don't even remember. But it was great. And it was so simple. They were like, are you sure you don't want anything more complicated, like fancy? Because they're used to like the pillar things in the middle of the cake. I don't even know what those are called. But I'm like, no, I just want like little cute polka dots and like some detail, and that's all I want, And they're like, are you sure? Because they're like building, they made cakes like in the 90s for families that are like these huge. Right. And I'm like, no, I just want something simple.
I'm actually not Greek Orthodox, so I'm fine with just a small simple cake.
I know. Like, that's not, it was very weird. But anyway, it was fun though, because they were like, yeah, I can definitely do that. And that was their gift to me. And,
very
it was
sweet.
It was really cool. And I hand lettered signs that ended up actually being washed out in the rain because it rained so hard. But
it was up on did it on a chalkboard?
No, it was on wood. It was on wood. We painted the wood. And then we did like paint markers. And if you see in the pictures, you can barely see it.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucked. I was kind of mad about that because I like put all this time. Yeah. But it's still like it was still cool. There's still some pictures of it that are good, and I think people were able to read them, but I'm such a perfectionist with that kind of stuff. But
yeah, so your wedding was a fail.
Yeah, totally. Complete fail. It was awful.
Because 2 signs
because of those signs
not legible for the entire day.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we had DIY'd a lot, but the big vendors, of course.
What about decor? Do you any besides the signs? So the signs, you did like a welcome or like a
we did like a Josh and Allison. We did a little
ceremony.
Arrow, go up the road,
which is super important, so people know where to go
because it's in the country, so it wasn't.
They feel unsure, and then they're like,
"Yep."
I don't know if people would actually do this, but they're like, we can't find it. Let's just go home. Yeah. I don't think people would do that, but they could.
They could. So that was down by the road, and then we had like parking signs, and then we had like a thing that was on the fence post that was like bathrooms this way.
Yes,
and
love that.
Ceremony this way, which the ceremony wasn't there. It was in the tent. But, it had cute. It was just more for the aesthetic, to be honest. But like at least when people walked through the fence kind of open area into the tent, they'll know like where the bathrooms are and stuff. So that was aesthetic / like, kind of important / I just wanted to.
Did you set that up? Yeah, I like signs. I have a whole Pinterest board that's just wedding signs.
It's fun.
Did you set up decor the day before?
Yes. So the tent was delivered on Friday. So we got married on Saturday. Tent was delivered on Friday morning, and we did a lot of the setup. Oh, I'm trying to think. I think the tables arrived that day as well.
Like before your rehearsal groom's dinner?
Before, yep. So we were able.
Came over.
Yep. So we had a whole bunch of people help, which was great. And I was expecting it to take a long time because I'd been a part of other weddings where set up in a barn takes forever. But actually, I don't know why, but maybe I just simplified. I was organized, but I also just like didn't want to go overboard. It was very simple in terms of decor. The biggest thing was hanging the lights from the tent.
Right, cafe lights.
Yeah. Oh
not
my gosh.
Easy. Why is it not easy?
Because it's so high up there, and it's like it.
And how do you like hook it?
Yeah.
Did you do zip ties?
I don't even know.
Oh
no, yes,
okay.
we did use zip ties.
Used magic and love.
We used magic and love from my mother-in-law, who has no fear of heights, and not that I'm not that fearful of heights, but she was like up on that ladder so high, just no problem, just tying them up, and Josh helped too. A couple people helped, but that was a big job. But other than that, we just like set up the tables, and as far as decor goes, we did really simple. Well, our theme was kind of like a romantic French farm.
Cute.
Kind of like almost Alice in Wonderland with like little teacups. Like we totally thrifted all of our stuff practically.
Yeah, I love that.
Where we did teacups and little bowls with candy in them. Josh has a sweet tooth, so we did cake and candy. So we filled some candy with on each table. Filled bowls with candy on each table. And then we did like bud vases with flowers. We did our own flowers through the farmer's market. So we did those the week of.
Did you order them special through the farmer's market, or like let the flower vendor know, like, hey, I'm getting married?
We did it directly through the farmer's market. Okay. And we ordered them in advance, and the thing that they do is you choose the color, so you tell them like what your color palette is, and they choose the flowers. So if you're really specific about the kind of flower you want, probably not the route to go.
Also not in Minnesota, maybe in Holland.
Right.
Like success.
Right.
But Minnesota, we don't have a lot of local.
No, and May is flowers. A little early for a lot of, like the peonies were just, and I of course, was like, I really love peonies. But
who wouldn't?
Right. So you're able to write requests down, but when you show up, when you go there to assemble everything, it's like you get what you get. But these were beautiful. They were so wonderful.
Okay, so peach and
it was
and
peach, peach and like a blue, like a light blue, and ivory were kind of the main colors.
And is that what you told them for flowers?
Yeah.
And then what flowers did you get? I'm trying to think.
I don't even know. See, I'm not a flower person, so I don't even know what they were. You should. I know there were roses. There were some garden roses, I think, in there.
I love garden roses.
Yeah, they were really great. And I wanted peonies when I requested it, but they didn't end up getting them, which is total. That time of year, I kind of have to. I was fine with it.
Right.
And I had really wonderful helping me put together the bouquets and put together.
You did your bouquets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did them all.
Farmers market.
Yep. But again, like I couldn't have done this without I had my godmother / aunt come, and then my friend who's a bridesmaid, her mom has a really good eye for it. and I asked her if she could help, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to!" Like super crafty woman, and they came and they just helped me make it happen.
The
it was
week
incredible.
of the wedding?
It was Thursday before.
Okay, Thursday. And then where'd you keep them?
So at the farmers market here in Minnesota, they actually keep them in their cooler for you.
Nuh-uh. Okay, the one downtown, or really?
Yep. So you go, and I called literally like 3 weeks. Before.
Okay.
Before the wedding.
Okay.
And because that's when you order them.
Haley's going to write all this down and put this in the show notes. So
Awesome.
if you want a backyard wedding and DIY your flowers, it'll be on there.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I think we spent like $300 to $350 on flowers.
You're crazy.
Including materials.
That's great.
Yeah. And
including like ribbon.
Including ribbon,
pins.
including the floral tape and like, everything like that. We ordered on Amazon, got it for really
flowers
cheap.
are so pretty. Can I put one of your pictures? Oh, I'll ask Brett and Janelle.
Yeah.
On the show notes too.
They were so gorgeous.
So you had hydrangeas. You had those antique green, the antique blue. You had that Queen Anne's lace. I think that's what that is. And tulips. Those peach tulips. Those are adorable. Italian ruscus. That's like right now my favorite. Wax flowers. Love those too.
Oh, okay.
And
see, this is the thing. This is why I didn't want to spend a lot on this, because I don't even know what these flowers are. Like I knew when I got them.
You just glazed over right now.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's right. Like I'm shaking my head, but
hypericum berries. Those are those little pink guys.
Oh yes,
they're so cute.
Loved those.
Yes.
Those like totally made it come together with the peach kind of color, almost red, because we had a little bit of red pops, quote unquote, everywhere, and so that was really fun.
Good job. I'm super impressed. Actually,
and it was again like it was just so worth it. And granted, I had so much help, and if I didn't, I don't think it would have come together like that. But I had people thinking that they were professional. They're professional ones, and I think most of all, it's because it just fit with the aesthetic, and it may not be for everybody. You know what I mean? And it was work. It was ordering 3 weeks ahead of time, going in, spending 5 hours doing this, but having people there that like totally got it and had an eye for it was really helpful. And then I was able to kind of guide and help, and obviously, but they really drove the bus there.
If you have a good plan, you have a good plan.
Yeah,
it's easier to execute a good plan.
Yeah. So they'll keep them in their cooler, and then I sent my friend's mom who helped. She offered to go down to Minneapolis and pick them up, and then she just delivered them the day of, and they were all ready. I mean, the rain, of course, that was like chaotic trying to get the flowers, but everything was chaotic that day. So
it's going to be chaotic regardless.
Exactly.
Because you're getting married and you've never done it before, and it's like super exciting, and all these people are there.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Unless someone signs your marriage license for you, a wedding is chaotic.
Yeah.
And like that's all that happens.
Right.
Like you wake up and someone's like, "So you're married?"
Right. And I think that's why when it came to decor, I'm like, I kind of stressed myself out over it a little, because I didn't know what it was going to actually come out to be. It wasn't here's my centerpiece, or here's my arrangement.
I love
it was very mismatchy, and that's how I wanted it. But then it caused me a little stress, because I'm like, I don't know how this is actually going to look. But once we got on the tables, and like each table had a picture of us at that age.
Yeah,
so we
I
did
love that.
Which was super fun, and people loved that, and like it was a conversation topic, which
and
was
then they
fun.
go around to other tables, and they're like, what age do you have? What picture do you have?
Right.
And so it helps your guests like intermingle.
Yep. And it was just a small picture. It wasn't like we were going to do frames. Then we thought, let's just get one of those little pictures.
You didn't do an 11 by 14?
No, we didn't. We did like, and then my mom, that was a whole ordeal trying to like find pictures of us at each age. My mom was like, I don't know. And she's like digging through her boxes. But it was fun because it involved people in that process, and it was nostalgic. And but once I looked at the whole tent, I kind of was like, oh my God, this actually worked out. Like it actually looks the way I want it to look.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
So awesome.
It was amazing to see that on Friday, like before the rehearsal. I was like, oh my gosh,
it looks good.
It looks good. Like I didn't trust myself the whole time.
Yeah.
But
because you don't know, you've never done it.
You don't, and that big a space.
Right.
Like I don't. You do this all the time. I never do this. Like all my work is on the computer, and I'm like, detail oriented in that way. But seeing it all come to life big, for the first time was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you do linen for your tables?
We did, and we bought it.
No.
And then we resold it after.
Okay, tell me about that process, because that personally that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah. I have a few tips of caution with it.
How did you know how many to get if you didn't have your RSVPs back yet? Did you buy extra? Where'd you buy them from? Was it discount?
Oh my gosh. I can get back to you on where we bought it from because this was something that Josh did research on pricing and everything.
Good for him.
Yeah, so I'll get back to you on that so you can put in the show notes if that's helpful. But we bought it online, totally random. I think it was kind of like a restaurant sort of depot kind of place, you know. But they came in packages and we just ordered. I think we made sure we ordered enough for like the gift table and like that kind of stuff, making sure we had the rectangle ones, and then we had circular round tables for the guests
that you got through the rental company. The tables.
Yep. Tables were all through the rental company.
And those garden chairs.
Yes, and the garden chairs we got through the rental company.
Okay, like now I'm like so interested. Tell me everything.
No,
but did you, since you switched your ceremony to under the tent, did you have guests sit at their tables?
We did.
Okay.
Because there was no other option at that point.
Were you going to reuse the chairs for the ceremony and move them under the tent? So then when you were like, oh, it's raining, the decision was move. Did you have an arbor?
We did have an arbor.
So it was like move the arbor and then move the chairs under the tent. Those are the two big things that had to be done. And then that's why you're saying like it was so helpful that you had like this parenthood family because because moving 200 chairs by yourself, Josie will tell you, takes a while.
It does.
Especially when other people are like, but it's raining. And you're like, I know.
We have pictures of groomsmen like literally with like ponchos or like clear plastic bags over like.
I've done that.
Yeah. And they're running back and forth. And Josh, like before he got ready, he was doing it too. Like everyone was pitching in. And I do remember the moment someone came in, one of Josh's good friends who actually introduced us, who was like, Allison, we need to make the decision. I'm really sorry, but I don't think it's going to stop raining. I'm like, okay.
But here's what I say. Even if it did stop raining, you have to dry off the chairs.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it did stop raining, the grass is still wet.
Yep.
Even if it did stop raining, now it's probably freezing.
Oh,
because now everything's damp. And being from Washington, I know how cold it is when it rains, and it's bone-chilling cold.
Yeah.
So your guests wouldn't even be comfortable.
No, they wouldn't.
Even if it stopped raining.
They wouldn't. Exactly. You know, exactly.
That's like there's just so much more to that decision but I wanted to have an outdoor wedding.
I know. And it killed me because I think the biggest thing I was worried about was, oh my gosh, our pictures. Like we're not going to get any outside farm, like beautiful green grass, spring pictures. And that's what again, at the end of the day, does that really matter? I mean, yes and no. You know what I mean? Like that's not what it's really about.
That's first world problems.
But it's exactly like
it doesn't matter. You still got married.
You still got married.
Each other.
Exactly.
It wasn't like, oh, it rained, so now we can't love each other.
Exactly. And our photographers, having really good photographers
that were experienced.
It really
took it in stride.
It really did. We still did our first look outside under umbrellas.
I love it.
And
with
they
the clear
captured
umbrellas.
Yeah,
so cute.
They captured that, and then it did stop raining like after the ceremony, and they were like, "You have to come outside
right now."
We are taking a picture, and I was so flippin' cold. I can't even tell you. I was like, my knees were just like going back and forth, shaking. But those are like some of the best pictures because the sun isn't in our eyes. It's overcast, but like. You know.
And you're like, we persevered.
Yeah. And it was like 5 minutes. And they were, I'm like, and Janelle was like, okay, we have to get you back inside. You're freezing. I'm like, I know, like I can see my breath right now. You know, I'm freezing. But it all worked out really, really nicely. And we did sit around. We had all our guests sit around our tables. And it wasn't great because it was just wet and mud. Like it got muddy.
Right.
My dress looks like it was dipped in chocolate.
Did you get it preserved? We have to go back to linen, but
I'm sorry.
Did you get it preserved?
Yes, I did. And actually, my mother-in-law offered to do it for me.
That's so nice.
She's like, I did it for the other girls, and I want to do it for you. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I think she couldn't handle the thought of me like not dealing with it right now. She's like, we need to clean it now.
Like now.
I'm like, okay, you're probably right.
You're like, wait, I have to do my first dance. Like, hold on. She's like following you around with a spray bottle.
Right? I mean, people kept commenting on it during the wedding. I'm like, would you stop it? I'm trying to get over the fact that my dress.
I'm trying to just have good time.
Yeah. Like I know, all these older women are like, oh, your poor dress.
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's gonna be okay. Like,
you look so ugly. That's what it feels like they're saying. Like, thanks.
I know. Oh man. But she did get it preserved for me, and it took 2 dry cleanings. Dang. And it's still in the seams, like the double.
But then also like. Are you going to wear your dress again?
No.
Ever?
The only thing is, like, someday if my daughter wants to
No,
wear
they
it,
won't.
But they probably won't. So it's fine. But, I mean, I was like, oh, it's so white, like, in the
yes.
box. So I'm really glad she did it for me because it's nice to have it clean and nice.
I got mine preserved like so good. It looks so good. I put it on the other day. It still fits. It's tight. Like I zipped it up and I was like, okay. And then I was taking pictures so I could show my husband because he was at home and I was being a weirdo. Yeah. And so I was like, let me take a picture so there's proof that I like put it on and he can be like, you're so pretty. And then I dropped my phone and I was like, how do I get it? I have like this mermaid satin and I was like basically like laying on the ground trying to get my
I'm going to rip it.
And then I couldn't unzip it. It like took 10 minutes. And I was like, I just want to get out of this. It like was really snug on the hips. Yes. So even if you do wear it again, like you probably will not. You'll probably focus more on like just being in it than the bottom seams.
Exactly. And it's a story, I mean, everybody that has come, nobody has been like, that was a terrible wedding. Not that they would tell that, not that they would say that to me, but every single person have said that was so memorable. Right. And it was because it didn't go perfectly. Right.
And you just focused on fun and love.
Right.
And then not the others. Okay.
Right. So linens.
Of fun and love. My love, linens. My love for linens. Okay, so you bought all of yours.
We bought all the linens because Josh was like, this is going to be so much less expensive. Let's do it. And, we're all budget conscious.
I think it is less expensive.
It is.
But
you get them and they come in packages.
And you have to unwrap them.
You have to unwrap them and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like a checkerboard.
Yeah. I can't see any of the checkerboard in the pictures.
Well, my dear friend went out there the day of and was like steaming. Like, one of my bridesmaids, she's like, I just have to do this. And she's a wedding planner herself.
Yeah, the day of.
She's like, I just am going to go out there and do it. And I'm like, girl, I don't even care. I don't even care. Like, they're fine. We got them to the point. I think my grandma tried to wash them.
Yeah, if you wash them, put them in the dryer, and then take them right out.
Yep.
And then, like, lay them out.
And that helped a lot. That helped a lot. So they were, like, laying all over my grandma's house.
Yeah.
Out of the dryer and trying to, like.
Being normal.
Yeah.
Regular day.
But Bree, one of my bridesmaids, was like, no, I have to do this for you. And so she went out there and she was helping, steam it. I know. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, I really don't care.
Because they look really good.
They do look really good. And so they turned out okay, but just be very aware that if you're looking for them to be perfect, I see the benefit in just paying to rent them and having them come ready. I don't know. It just depends on what you're willing to do and how perfect you want them.
And how many people you have in your life that are willing to help, right?
Totally.
Some brides and grooms, they're like, well, really, it's just us, like, doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And then our parents, like, make annoying comments like, well, when are you going to plan this? When are you doing this?
Right.
Are you going to have this at your wedding? And then some people, they're like, no, I have so many people that want to help and I don't have anything for them to do.
Right.
It's like, okay,
then
how about, like,
them
DIY something? Yep. And then you can be like, all of these mini LED candles, the fake ones, you have to take the little insert tab out of
that
them.
kind of stuff.
Like, that's a great task.
Yep.
Or actually, those LED candles, they sell them. I don't know who has them, but they sell them where they're all remote controlled. So you can you could like turn all of them on, press off on the remote, so then they're off.
That's brilliant.
And then on your wedding day, you're just like click, and then they all turn on.
That is brilliant.
I like that.
Wow, that's impressive.
Whoever did that, kudos.
Oh yeah.
I have the remote in my fanny pack. Should look at the brand.
Your fanny pack. I love that.
Fanny. Okay, so first you did tent. And then you did, like, rentals? When did you get your dress in that?
I got my dress actually really early, unexpectedly. So I think actually I think I got my dress before we got the tent.
Why not?
Because I think we were working on making our list. And we wanted to make sure we weren't going overboard or, like, not being able to fit everybody into there.
So you wanted to spend money on the things that were most important.
Kind of, yeah. And I guess my maid of honor was like, let's go dress shopping. Josh is out of town. This is the time to go. I'm like, okay. And I didn't want to do it right away because I was afraid that, I honestly was just very worried I wasn't going to be able to find something that I liked and that fit my body type and that you felt comfortable in.
Confident.
I was worried about that because I don't know. That just says I'm super self-conscious about myself, but
like every woman,
like every woman, and
in the entire world,
and all the eyes are going to be on you. Right. And even we had this big wedding. I'm not someone that likes to be center of attention, very much in that way, in that like intense way. So for me, like I wanted to make sure that I felt really comfortable, and every bride feels that way. Yeah. So, but that's kind of my motivation for being resistant to going.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. Motivation for being resistant.
No,
but that's the reason I was resistant.
No, it totally
I was
makes sense.
just scared of not being able to find something.
Like, what if I don't like anything, and then I'm just, every time I go, nothing works, nothing fits,
or I just end up
good.
crying. Like, it's like swimsuit shopping for me. I like end up crying every time. I'm like,
instead, I'll just wear a potato sack.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right. Oh my gosh. So, but yeah, actually what happened was I went with my maid of honor, Sarah, and we went to David's Bridal. She's like, it's just somewhere to start. Let's just start and go and try stuff on.
Yep.
So we go, we didn't even make an appointment. We just walked in and they're like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I was like, we have to make an appointment to try it on a dress. I had no clue.
I feel like David's Bridal, if anyone, would be the most flexible.
Right. Well, they were able to get us in. So they said, if you want to just look around and pick out stuff, we'll be able to get you in like a half hour. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we did it, and I tried on like, 6, 7 dresses, and there's one that I really liked, but it was just kind of simple. Like, I loved it. It was beautiful. It was not what I wanted, though.
It didn't warm your soul.
It didn't warm my soul. It wasn't like it looked good. Like, it looked really good. So that was motivating. I'm like, oh, this actually looks good.
Yeah.
Great.
But
it
like,
just
dang, Gina.
Right.
I'm banging. Okay.
It covered up the
Is
right
there a fashion
spots.
show? Like,
yeah. It covered up the spots I was self-conscious about. You know, it was all good. But then I was like, I don't know. This is something to consider, like, definitely. And then the last dress that she brought me was off the clearance rack, and that was the one I ended up getting. And it was the first day. Like, I'm the kind of person, I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this. If I find something I like, I'm just going to do it and trust that
this is a good dress.
This is a good dress. So it was on, I think I got it like $600 off or something. So it's still expensive, but I felt good that I wasn't spending an endless amount of money.
Also, to anyone who's never gone dress shopping or pinned any wedding dress or doesn't know, like $600 off sounds like a screaming deal.
Yeah.
Like, what if I could get $600 off my wardrobe? Like, my wardrobe would be free.
Right.
But wedding dresses, like, I feel like on average they're like $2,000.
Yeah.
For like a regular dress. Like,
yep.
Not like Maggie Sotero or like you're not going to Kleinfeld's. Like, this is just a regular
And this
dress.
is David's Bridal. Like, we're not talking super, super high end stuff by any means. So I think it was originally like $1,800 or something, and I got it for $1,100.
So screaming deal.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was decent. I brought my grandma and my mom out the next day. They held both dresses for me. I didn't tell them which one I liked the most.
Yes.
I liked both of them, but they're that one I liked the most. And my grandma cried.
So
the whole like classic thing. But everyone was like, yep, this one. And I was like, yep, that was the one I liked too. So we went with it. But I will say it was a lot of lace. So be very careful about
for alterations
because the girl who was helping me, who was lovely. A lot of people say bad things about David's Bridal sometimes about having not good experiences there.
Oh,
but
I think that's the same with anywhere.
Probably anywhere. Yeah.
Yep, that's hit or miss. I think sometimes it's personality. Like, does my personality match with the salesperson's personality? And doesn't really have anything to do with where you go.
That's probably very true. Yeah, because I had a really good experience. The only thing was that she kind of led me to believe that it wasn't going to be as expensive to get altered, but I'm such a shorty.
Yeah.
And I'm 5'2".
Yeah, me too.
And
I'm shorter than you.
And the dress was long.
For a tall person.
Yep. And so
for like a 6 foot tall woman, probably.
Yeah.
Like, they just make it standard height.
Right. And the alterations were very expensive. And and again, like, I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to be. I don't sew. I don't know how involved this is. And so anyway, that was a little shocking when it came time to do the alterations. But at the end of the day, I loved my dress and it was great. And it was
perfect length.
It was. Like, they did a really, really good job with the length.
What kind of dress line? How do you say that? At the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, mine was mermaid or trumpet, where it like flares out at the bottom.
Yeah.
What was yours?
It was it wasn't not A-line. It's oh my gosh, what
where
was
it goes
it called?
down and then there's like a small train.
Yes. So it was kind of fitted around my hips a little bit, but then it wasn't like a mermaid, but
it didn't poof.
It didn't poof, but it just kind of like fell really flowy.
Maybe that's
out.
like Belle or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. See, again, I should know this stuff. I don't remember what it was.
I should know this stuff. So, same boat.
There's so many different
everything.
I can't keep track.
Did you get it bustled?
I did.
And so that your train part, that's the part that got muddy. It's the part that was like flowing.
Yes, and I mean just the bottom of it got muddy too.
Right.
Like it was
just touching stuff.
It was just touching everything. And I mean we had mud. Like it wasn't and my shoes were just
Well, what kind of shoes did you wear?
I wore little mini wedges, like they were
Love
really
those.
low, and they had really like little eyelet. Is that what they called? Eyelet or
Like with a peep toe?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't
Oh.
a peep toe, but there were little like raindrop looking like
Cute.
holes in the top. They're my favorite. I still need to clean them. They're not cleaned yet.
Well, maybe just dye them at this point.
I know, but they were blue and they were like my
Cute.
something
That's
blue.
your something
and,
blue.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Did you consider wearing wellies? Or did anyone else switch into
I
rain
wore
boots?
them for pictures.
Yeah, red ones, right? No.
I think someone else. I don't know. Someone just gave them to me because I wasn't prepared and didn't have them, and someone was like, "Just wear these."
Is that something you would
big black.
suggest? You're so pretty.
Oh gosh,
I love this dress.
she's looking. She's not just looking at me, telling me I'm
Stop.
pretty. She's
Yeah.
looking at pictures.
And your shoes are so cute.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's so adorable.
Yeah, the wellies were good to have on hand when we were taking pictures in the tent before the
To switch
ceremony.
into.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
maybe if you were getting married and you knew it was probably going to rain,
Probably something to think about.
that would be a cute bridesmaid gift.
Yeah.
But like, how would you know it's going to rain? Actually, in Minnesota, there's like definitely a significant monsoon season.
Yeah.
That I feel like everyone ignores. It's June, and
Yeah.
June's the most popular month
to get married. Yeah.
So maybe that could be your backup plan.
Maybe.
Or I've had brides that like Amazon Primes stuff overnight,
Really? I bet.
like clear umbrellas.
Yep.
And then had clear
Oh,
umbrellas
yeah.
for their pictures.
I'm
which
so
is super
happy
cute.
that our photographers had those.
Just had it.
It was
So-
awesome because
yeah,
they were
you have
prepared.
good photographers. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you want to talk about for your wedding? Because I want to talk
Mm.
about everything.
Oh my gosh.
Do you feel like you had a good planning pace?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I used the knot checklist
Yeah.
to help me keep on track because, again, like as you can hear me talk, like nobody knows, right, what
don't
they're
know.
really doing. And so that was really helpful. But I
Right.
think, like I said earlier, I think Josh and I had a good balance of what we like to do or what we were interested in helping with. So I think we kind of helped each other stay on track with that. I think I am such a scheduler and planner that
Right.
it was helpful for me to just have that personality behind it where I'm keeping us moving and saying like, no, we really need to go paint these signs.
Yeah.
Like we need to do this
We need
this
to
weekend
decide.
or we need to make a decision.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I
Right.
feel like the decision part, that's kind of the thing that you can get stuck on. Like maybe you make a decision and you're like,
Mhm.
well, I just want to change my mind. And
Yes.
It's like, no, we got to move on.
Right.
Like there's a lot of stuff we need to tackle.
Right.
And we can't get stuck on which color you want to do the signs in.
Right.
Got it.
Exactly.
Just do them.
Yep.
What about, did you have extra help when you were planning? I know we talked about like your day of coordinator kind of like looking over
Yeah.
it, but like any other people in your family that got married?
You know, on my mom's side, which is where the farm is, where we got married, I'm the first grandchild to get married. And so it was a huge flippin' deal. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's all
Everyone was
in
giving you
and giving
their like 70s wedding advice.
totally.
You should get married at a
Totally.
church.
That, you know
We
what?
did those cans from our car. No, they probably didn't. That's super cliche.
Sup-
That's only in movies.
Surprisingly, they didn't, it wasn't necessarily, they were giving me their opinions for sure. And I don't know, it was hard. There were some things that were kind of hard about it. And
Yep.
expectations, the church thing was not an issue for anybody.
Good.
I think because it was the place we got married was meaningful.
Right.
I think that helped with both sides of the family because I think that was kind of maybe a more traditional expectation that would have been otherwise. But
right.
because it was at my grandparents', it felt a little bit more okay, quote unquote, or, more. No one said anything to me about it.
What about who was your officiant?
Our officiant was my friend Whitney, who's a pastor.
Okay.
And she does weddings for her job. And then she doesn't do like officiates everybody. It's just
Right.
like for friends.
Right.
And her and her husband, AJ,
Did it together?
introduced us.
Cute.
So they didn't do it together,
yeah.
but she did it. She officiated for us, which was probably one of the coolest parts of the
Super
entire
meaningful.
thing because she introduced us.
But then I feel like that is helpful too for those people who are maybe expecting your wedding to be more religious or faith-based is if you have a pastor that
Yes.
is someone actually that knows you too.
Right.
So it's still like kind of what you want.
It's kind of the best of both worlds because it
Right.
was, and we did want it to be, some religious because we're both, spiritual people, but it's
you didn't
not
really want to sing hymns.
Right. And I think and I don't know that this is true for every church, but I have had friends get married in the church where you can't, the people that are playing the music, you don't have an option.
This is what
about
it
that.
is.
This is what it is. And so
Yeah.
we were able to have Whitney, have the, faith-based ceremony for us. But then also I had like my aunt, godmother, who did help me with flowers too. Her and my cousin did the music.
Right.
Or two cousins actually. So it was so like, it was nice to be able to really make it our own. And that's,
a good balance.
I think that's the beauty of doing it on, even though it was so much work.
Yeah.
I look back on it, I'm like, that was all us.
Yeah, and it was you.
It was
That's
us.
the thing. Like, if
in
you
every
plan
way.
a wedding that makes sense to you and that feels right to you, like, it's okay that things don't go right, or that it's going to be a lot of work, or that it's going to feel chaotic. That's okay, because it's still, like, who you are.
Right.
I think when you're forcing it to be something that you don't want it to be, that's when it's, like, crisis.
Yes.
And then you start questioning, why are we even getting married?
Agreed. Totally. And you start being, there are, of course, things that I felt a little pressured.
Right.
Into like family-wise weird family dynamics that everyone has.
Yeah, like you have to invite uncles too, but I don't know uncles do.
Right.
Too bad.
Right, or like great uncles.
Yes,
and
well that's
like,
why, and then you find out like this is not really my uncle. This is my like great uncle once removed on my cousin's father's side. It's like,
right. And so there's stuff like that, but overall we had our, we kind of had our fingerprints on everything, and I think people really. They loved it. Yeah. And not that matters as much, but I do want people to enjoy it and have fun.
Because then it makes you feel like it was more fun.
Right.
Like when you host a dinner party at your house, if everyone walks away and they're like, see you later, like, probably never coming back here. Like, then you're like, oh, like, even though I cooked like great food and I liked it and I had fun and I laughed, no one else enjoyed it. So now that depreciates like how I feel about this event.
Right.
Whereas if everyone walks away or at like 3 a.m. and they're like, I'm never leaving. Yes, this is so fun. Totally. You're like, yes, success.
People were like, so I made the playlist.
Yeah.
That was something I did the week of that was kind of, I was like, I can't believe I was
going to ask you, what was your experience the week of planning?
Yeah, there were a couple things that I knew it was, you just can't do.
You postponed.
And you postpone, or you just literally can't do it until, 2 weeks before or whatever. It just.
Final head count.
Yep, exactly. But the playlist was something that I was doing like 3 days before, but I knew I was going to do it by myself, and the playlist was freaking amazing. And I had friends that were like, I had to pee so bad,
and I couldn't
because every song I wanted to dance to, and I was like, that is success right there.
Compliment.
And granted, it was like 90s hits like all over the place, but like, it was so fun because I had a friend, quote unquote, DJing and just keeping things going.
It was what you guys wanted, but then you appeased your guests too.
Totally.
Or the bulk of them.
Totally, yeah. There are some things where I was like, I should have like planned out. If you do make your own playlist, I would try to put it in some sort of order where you have like the oldies and stuff at first. Because I wish that I had a little bit more. I just told my friend like, whatever you want. But of course, he's not going to like play those automatically. You know what I mean? He was thinking what his friends and what our friends wanted. But I was like, oh, I kind of, and that was totally fine. That was my fault.
Because younger generations like oldies. And then older generations are like, oh, I feel like
can
I belong
dance
here.
and I can come and dance. So I think that.
And then they'll like kind of get over it, or they won't. They'll transition into like the new age stuff and be like, look how hip I am doing a chicken dance. And you're like, no, this is not the chicken dance.
No.
There's not even mention of a chicken in this song. And they're like, yeah, but you kids and your chicken dance. And you're like, no.
Yeah, I think that there is something to, I didn't realize this before, but there is something to that flow to at least get it started and to make, people feel,
an argument for having a professional DJ.
Absolutely. However, like I wouldn't have changed anything in terms of having my friend do it because he's just awesome and has a great personality and was totally the person to ask, and he was more than happy to do it. But I think having an order or being a little bit more specific about that, but that is something I should have done like not the week before.
Right.
And so I could maybe put a little bit more thought into that.
I feel like transportation gets left behind too. Did you guys think about like how guests were going to get there and home?
Yeah. One thing we struggled with a little is because it was out in the country. It's not like super near a hotel. And so that was something. What happened? There was some drama with that a little bit. Not drama.
Like, did you book a room block and then that kind of spurned this, like, spurned, is that a word? Spurred?
Yeah.
Spurred.
We booked off a room. We booked off, I think, 2 different hotels. One more expensive where we were going to stay downtown Stillwater, and then one that was more like country and sort of thing. There was something that happened where they, like, cut off or something happened with the price or something weird happened with the hotel, and I think it was because they were in transition of ownership or something.
Okay.
But I guess my lesson was never be afraid to call and check in. Like never be afraid to be like, okay, I just want to make sure. Like if you have a feeling like something's not quite right, don't be afraid to call.
Hotel turnover is immense.
Is it?
And
I didn't even know. I didn't know
immense.
Is that?
I feel like
semi-normal?
it's humongous. And so think of like servers, like how servers like jump around from restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like sometimes you have one person that you make your room block with, and that's when you book your venue. So maybe like that's 12 months out. And then you are releasing your guest room block details to your wedding party or to your wedding guests. So maybe that's like 4 to 6 months out or something. Like you put it on your wedding website. So then people start booking it and they start having questions. So then you call back and you're like, hey, like so-and-so had this question about this. And then it's a new person. And then the week of your wedding, when you're confirming like your own room, like, hey, we're staying in this room, right? And like, will you have the champagne ready for us when we arrive? Then it might even be a different person.
Yes.
I find that happens a ton with my clients, where I'm dealing with 3 different people, and then I literally have to copy and paste like the whole email.
It's
like,
so
nope, this is what we decided with the shuttle. Like, please don't start over. Like, we already decided this.
And I think the other thing is there's like policies that they have.
Right.
I'm like, you aren't being consistent. Like, I can't. I think the biggest thing that now it's coming back to me that they wanted, it was a 2-room minimum.
Yeah. For each person booking.
Right.
So I had to book 2 nights.
2 nights. That's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah. It was 2 nights. That's what it was.
Just book 1 night.
And people don't need 2 nights. Like it was a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
And we had a shuttle set up that was going to bring, we did like, I think we did one trip before, and then we did 2 trips in the evening.
Yeah.
And that was fine, but then it was like people weren't booking the hotel because they were being told that they could only book 2 nights.
Right.
So like my mother,
because the hotel needs to make money too.
I totally get it, and it's
demand.
a busy time. But then I'm like, if you would have told me that,
I wouldn't have done a room block.
Yeah, it was really. You
could have just had your guests fend for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was kind of frustrating for me. But and at the end of the day, I'm usually not the kind of person to like call and complain, but I did. I was like, you know what?
Or give feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. I should really say give feedback.
You suck.
You are terrible. No, it was actually fine because I said, hey, you did not say this to me, and now people are having trouble, and they were like, oh, that's right. Like we didn't put this note on your file. I'm like, are you serious? But I do get it. Like I understand. We planned our wedding in 10 months, so it's not like we booked this a year in advance.
Right.
So our options were limited. So that was really a little bit stressful. But the transportation went fine. The only in terms of the shuttling, the only thing is when it was super muddy and people had a hard time. This is actually a great story.
Places.
Yes. Well, we had them park in this kind of pasture area.
Right.
It was so muddy people can't get in and out.
Yeah.
Like they were sliding around.
I had an October wedding where it was literally every 15 minutes someone had to be pushed out to get out of their spot because it poured. It poured.
Yeah.
And this was at Camrose Hill, which is an outdoor venue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they moved everything into like the barn and then the tent. And at the end of the night, I mean, the staff there was like super great helping.
Yeah.
And like everyone was like, okay, we'll go push out another car.
Yeah.
But you can't control that.
No, you can't. And that was, I mean, what else were we going to do? That was the option for where they can park. And what are you going to do? You can't do
park on the street 2 miles out.
Well, what happened? No. Okay. So it's like this is one of my favorite stories that I didn't really realize what was going on. My uncle and I think I had 2 cousins, maybe 1 cousin, whatever. They were shuttling people up the hill from so to get to my grandparents, you have to go up this dirt road, like super steep, like in the winter, dangerous, sort of steep. And then you go up into their driveway and it kind of opens up into the pasture, their yard and stuff. But people were parking way down by the road. And I mean, it was muddy and pouring. And my uncle took his minivan and was like driving down, shuttling people up so that they didn't have to.
So nice.
Yeah, they didn't have to park up there because he's like, and they just kept coming down and saying, hey,
who's
here
next?
For the wedding? Yeah. Who's next? Hop in. Because you can't park up there because you're not going to be able to get out. Yeah. So it's actually like that's just another example of people chipping in and DIY weddings hard. But if you have that kind of family and friends to like really go all out for you.
Seamless.
Yep.
I had a backyard wedding, rained the tarps. That one, they rented golf carts.
Oh, yeah.
And so
we thought about
someone was shuttling them up and down their hill. But not because of like a steep hill, more because there's nowhere to park up in their driveway because it wasn't like a farm.
Yeah.
It was their house.
There was just no space.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's like another option.
Yeah. You can think outside the box. And that was something that we didn't obviously how can you anticipate that? We didn't expect people to have that even if it did rain. that hard of a time parking. Where I mean, it was so much space, so it was something we did
Roll
not
with
plan
the
for.
punches.
Yep.
Okay, any advice that you want brides and grooms to hear, use, and implement, especially ones who are maybe self-employed like you are, working non-traditional work hours, trying to plan their wedding and stay on pace, stay sane?
Yeah. Oh, I found myself so wrapped up in the details sometimes that I forgot to enjoy it. Like I had times where I was just so trying to keep up with everything. And like I said, we planned our wedding in 10 months. And so it wasn't this super long engagement. But at the same time, I'm glad we did that way, because I think if I would have let it go a long time, I wouldn't have been so on top of things, if that makes sense.
And go back and redecide.
Right. Like I just kind of made decisions and
Let's go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I think that's my personality probably. So I don't know if that would work for everybody, but don't feel like you do have enough time. Just you have to set aside the time depending on how long your engagement is.
Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think just being intentional about the time that you're taking and not being afraid to just make a decision and know that
it's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. And, yes, it's important to infuse your personality and your relationship, into everything. Like that's what was really special, I think, about our wedding. But it doesn't mean that you need to overanalyze every single little thing. And I think that's what I learned the most, is that, that's my tendency sometimes. And it really, in the end, it all turned out, it wasn't perfect by any means, but it all turned out.
It was beautiful.
And
it was your
people
wedding.
are still talking about how much fun they had. And that's like the best, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, we're married, and that's really all that matters.
Right.
And they could feel the love in the room, and they danced, all night, and like that's the kind of stuff that matters. So I think that I needed to maybe enjoy it a little bit more. I think that's what I got too wrapped up in the details at times. But then when it came down to the day, I was able to relax because I had the day of coordinator, because I had
great
such supportive,
family.
Yep. And that's really like what made it super special, is all of that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're done. That's it.
Yay.
It was like an hour and a half.
That's a long time. Sorry, did I talk your ear off?
No.
Yeah, I did. But...
Well, not mine. Maybe all the listeners are like,
sorry.
Shut up, Allie. No. We're good. That's it. Want a high five?
Yes.
Ta-da.